You have seen him literally running around the room. The man has more energy than the Energizer Bunny. And I am privileged to call him a friend. Y'all listening to me? All this talking. Tommy McGrady. He just appears out of nowhere. I looked over there like 2 seconds ago, and he wasn't there. Tommy McGrady originally hails from the North in Yankeetown. He has been all over the world, though, from New York to Alaska, preaching the good news of Jesus Christ. But Tommy, that's right. But Tommy, you see, in preaching the good news, has finally found God's country. Tommy moved from Pennsylvania down to good old Lake Charles, Louisiana. Yeah. Where he is now a campus minister, a teacher, and a speaker. And Tommy, his most notable thing is that he will soon spend the rest of his life with Katie Prejean. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to bow your heads with me as we pray for our brother. God, Father Almighty, send down your blessings upon your Son. Help us to be open and receptive to what he has to offer, and help him to truly hear and to heed the words you give to him tonight. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Tommy McGrady. Mobile! Yeah! Yes! 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 Mobile! Yes! 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 Yeah! Woo! Woo! Good night! Might as well end on a high note and be done with it. No. As Father said, my name is Tommy McGrady. I live in Lake Charles, Louisiana now. I'm a campus minister. I'm a teacher. I'm a fiance to that pretty lady back there. Yeah. She was here last year, and so I got to follow in her footsteps, and I'm grateful to be here with you. I really am so excited. I was so excited all week. I didn't sleep the night before when I had to drive here because I was so excited to come and meet all 350 of you. I couldn't wait. It's like, yeah! And you got here. You knew it was ACYC, and you came in the door, and I was like, you're here! How you doing? You're like, who is that man? I want to go home right now. And it's not okay. I mean, I'm excited, but please relax. He has no chill. None of it. He has none of the chill. Yeah. And I love when I get to do this. I love being here, and I love my job at St. Louis as well. But I didn't always do this stuff. No, I didn't always do this. I went to college, and I majored in, and you want to take a guess? Biology. Yeah. Right, and now I work for Jesus, you know, because that would make sense. That would make sense. I walk into college and I'm like, I'm going to be a scientist, and God's like, no, you're not. No. Not going to happen for you. Sorry. Now, when I was at Eastern University, a small college outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I was also part of a traveling drama ministry called Transformed. And we traveled all up and down the East Coast, from Spartanburg, South Carolina, to Martha's Vineyard, everywhere in between. Every weekend, the spring semester, we traveled. It was amazing. It was awesome. I loved it. I pretty much majored in that for 4 years. I poured everything I had into that. And my junior year, I got to direct the group. And for spring break that year, oh yeah, spring break, we got to go down to Spartanburg, South Carolina. Woo! Yeah! for Habitat for Humanity. And Habitat for, yeah, Habitat. Who did Habitat? Anybody do Habitat in Spartanburg, South Carolina? Anybody? So close. So close. Right, but we got down there. And Habitat for Humanity means one thing, guys. It means building a house. Oh, yeah. Couldn't wait to get down there and put up drywall everywhere. Even if they didn't need it, you put it up anyway. Just put up drywall everywhere. Carry around concrete, massive amounts of concrete. Carry it around. Use a pillow. I don't care. Right? Hit things with hammers over and 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 over. I'm sorry. My name is Tommy, and I like to hit things. I'm sorry. So, we got down there. Pray for Katie. We got down there. And we met the head of Habitat for Spartanburg, South Carolina, and his name was Jim Spencer. And Jim was an old Southern guy. And Jim looked like this. You see, his eyes were all droopy, and his lips kind of curled over his teeth, and he talked like this. And we're standing in a big circle, and he's telling us what we're going to do the next day, and we're all excited. The anticipation is mounting. We're going to build a house. Jim, what are we doing tomorrow, Jim? Where are we going? Where's the concrete and the hammers? Jim, give me a hammer. Where are we going? What are we going to do? And he goes, well, tomorrow, you're going to go to the BMW factory. Why, Jim? Why? Why are we going to some dumb car factory? I want to hit something with a hammer, and if you don't get out of my way, you're next. Now, Jim knew we were upset that we weren't going to the job site right away, right? So he thought he eased the tension with a little joke. He says, well, tomorrow at the factory, you can go on the virtual tour. And then he stopped, and in a moment of what turned out to be divine intervention, looked directly at me, and he said, or you can go on the real tour. He stopped and stared at me for 15 seconds of absolute silence to make sure that I got his joke. And the joke is stupid. It's dumb. There's no punchline. It's not funny. There's nothing to get. It's a dumb joke. But he thought it was the funniest thing that he ever said. And because he thought it was so funny, I decided in that moment, buddy, I'm making you a joke for the rest of my life. And I have. Because from that day forward, anytime, anybody, anywhere, ever said the words virtual, real, or tour, in my head, under my breath, or out loud, I always said, real tour! And it started out something small and simple, just like that, just, real tour. But now you see it's grown into something much bigger and much more beautiful. Now it's like this, now it's like, real tour! Now, I said that so much since that day, which is like 7 years ago. When I graduated college, Transformed bought me a hat, and the hat says, Real Tour. Okay? I tell this story all the time. Every event that I'm at, every retreat that I go to, even just in random places in public, I tell this story, right? I've told it all over the country, all over, from Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California, Alaska, Louisiana, and now the great state of Alabama. Roll Tide! And War Eagle. All right? At the date of you hearing this story, over 12,500 people have heard this story, and I tell it to you in hopes that one day you might be in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and you'll run into Jim Spencer, and you'll go, "You're the guy!" And he'll have no idea what you're talking about, because he has no idea I tell this story about him. This poor guy's famous. He has no idea. I can't wait, to get to heaven and go, "Hi, Jim. You made my life so much fun." Right? And now that you've heard this story, you must now become a part of the story. How, Tommy? Great question. Great question. On the count of 3, each and every one of you are going to give me your own personal tour. Now, if you're sitting there going, "No, I'm not." Listen, tell you this one thing. You have to learn it really quick. Nobody in this room is too cool to do this. Want to know how I know that? You're all 12 years old and none of y'all are cool, okay? I'm 18. No, you're 12 until you are 20. Are you 20? Nope, you're 12. Great. Now that that's covered, we can continue. Right, and I get it. It's strange. It's bizarre. But you know what? If you don't do it with everybody else, I will make you come up here and do it in front of all these people. And then you can tell me what one is more embarrassing, okay? Because if we all look stupid together, nobody cares, okay? Are we clear? Now, again, you may be sitting there going, "I don't know how he does that face. I can't do that." Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm a professional. We're going to go through this step by step together so that everyone's on the same page. And listen here, you may think you are sitting next to your best friend in the entire world, but I promise you, they will sell you out in a heartbeat to watch you come up here and do it by yourself. Okay? We're going to be on the honor system because we have an apostle in the back, okay? Now, adults, I would like your full and conscious participation in this, okay? Now, step one. Step one. You take your lips. You curl over your teeth just like this. Everybody, I'm looking at you right in the front row and you're not doing anything. Lips. There you go. Lips over your teeth just like this. Okay? Step two. You take your eyes on down, like you're squinting into the sun, okay? Okay. Now, pull your face on back like it's really windy outside. All right, you want to cock it out, brow up, that's okay too. Now, here we go. On the count of 3, everybody, 1, 2, 3. Okay, who didn't do it? If they didn't do it, send them up here. They're going to be my special friend. Come here. Bring them on up. Bring them on up. Bring them on up. Zelda came up here. Hey, 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 hey. Hey. Number one rule of the conference, don't die, okay? If you die, I'll kill you. Don't think I won't. So don't die. Nobody die. Let's go. All right. So these people who are these people who are reluctant, I don't know why they would be reluctant, but it's like you don't trust me or something, to come up here. Would anybody like to volunteer as tribute for them, please? Now, Now listen. Now you group of wandering minstrels. You have chosen to not participate with everybody else. Now I will give you another chance. Because I am, and it is the year of mercy, after all, and I will be merciful towards you. I will give you another chance. However, I'll give you another chance to do it, without penalty. However, they're going to decide your fate. So, should I allow them to do it once more, everyone together, or make them do it by themselves? You need better friends. Okay, so. Now, we're going to go right down the line, okay? Right down the line. We're going to start here. You want to go last? You got it. War Eagle's going last. Okay. All right. Okay. So, everybody, ready? Lips, eyeballs, face. Okay? Ready? Here we go. Wait. Am I in the picture? I'll hop down. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The real tour! That was great. Next. 1, 2, 3. The real tour! Drew. A real tour! My goodness. I'm not sure that was even human. That was special.
I've lost my voice.
I see that. All right. Ready? Go.
Wait, you expect me to follow after that?
You're in line next to him, so yes.
You can't do any better, Drew.
Ready?
No, I can't do better.
Try. Ready? 3, 2, 1. A real tour! He tried. Good effort.
Get out of here.
Ready?
Hold on.
She must prepare herself. Go ahead. All right. Zelda, make Nintendo proud. She's an angry elf. My goodness. All right, we're ready. The real tour. Right. Solid. Take a breath. It's gonna be okay. All right, Alora. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The real tour. They had like some vibrato in it. That was delicious. That was good. All right, are we ready? The last one, the best for last. Here he is. 3, 2, 1. The real tour! Let's give it up for everybody up here. Thank you. You guys can have a seat. You guys can go have a seat.
But I don't want to.
Have a seat.
But I don't want to.
I know. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Words cannot express how much I love that story and that experience. My fiance hates it. She hates it, and she hates it because one day we were driving to go see a performance that some of our students were in at the Civic Center in Lake Charles, and it was December. In December in Lake Charles, you can drive with the windows down, which is just amazing. And so we're driving through the parking lot, and out of nowhere we just hear, "Hey, wheelchair!" And I was like, and she's like, "This is my life now. For the rest of my life, everywhere we go, people are just going to scream that at us." I didn't ask for this, and I swear, I think I saw her out of the corner of my eye. I reached for the ring to try to give it back, but I don't know. Right. I tell a story, that trip to Spartanburg was one of the best weeks of my life. I got to spend it with some really, really close, dear friends of mine from college. And I want to ask you a question and get a few answers from you, just to see that if I'm the only weird one in the room. That's a bad question. We know the answer is yes. But the thing, to see if you had a similar experience that I do. So I want to know, and honestly, what do you want your friends to think about you? Like, what kind of reputation do you want to have in front, like, and he sticks the landing. 9.5, that was pretty good, okay. What do you want your friends to think about you? Hands will be good. Hands will be good so I can see things. What do you want your friends to think about you? Yes. That you're trustworthy, okay, what else? That you're loyal, what else? That you're responsible. Huh? That you're rambunctious, okay. Dependable? Dependable. Huh? Can't hear you. Perfect. You want your friends to think that you're perfect. That you're perfect, that's honest, hit me. That you're adventurous. That you're fuzzy. Okay. Now you're fuzzy. That you're radical. Hit me. Shh. That you're genuine. Hit me. One more. That you're charming. Great. So we have perfect, we have dependable, we have loyal. You want one more? Hit me, Grizzle. Shh. Are you going for disturbing? Because that's what I'm getting. I'm getting disturbing. That he has great thighs. All right, things you never want to hear at a youth conference. Survey says thighs. Okay. Now we'll all erase that image from our brains, and it's gone. Great. Right. So we want dependable, perfect. Yeah. For me, it's kind of always been this way. I want to be viewed as someone who's very, very passionate, who has a lot of energy, boundless energy, if you will. Right? I want to be viewed as someone who can handle their own stuff. I don't really need to rely on other people. I don't need to ask for help. I can handle things. And so at the end of that trip, we got back to Eastern, and I started seeing some signs around campus to be an RA. And that's the last thing and the only thing that I hadn't done yet at Eastern. And I was like, well, leadership, being face of the university, that's got me written all over it. Sign me up. Bam. And my friends and my academic advisors would look at me and they said, Tom, we understand why you want to be an RA, but you're going to be a senior, which has a lot of pressure about next step career stuff. You're going to be leading Transformed again, and that's a big commitment for you. And not to mention your class load with biology and all those labs. I'm not sure that you should go ahead and do this. And I looked at them and I went, do you not know who I am? I am Tommy McGrady. I am the Incredible Hulk and Superman wrapped into one. I have boundless energy. I can handle this. I know most people, most mere mortals can't handle this load, but I can do it. Let me do it. And so they said, well, okay, Tom, you're an adult. Do what you got to do. And for the first 2 weeks next year, it was awesome. I got to greet the freshmen. I got to try to give them the best experience that I had freshman year, to kind of pass that on to them. It was great. I felt on top of the world. Transform was going well. My classes didn't seem too hard. For the first 2 weeks, it was great. And then it wasn't anymore. It wasn't. Every ball that I was trying to juggle that was up in the air, it began to change course on me, and I began to drop a bunch of them. I became overwhelmed. I felt lost. I felt broken. I felt depressed. So much so that I just flat out stopped going to class. This was before Netflix was a thing. I just sat in my dorm room watching episodes of Lost, one like on the DVD, just one after the other, stopped going to class. I started to seclude myself because I didn't want anyone to see my brokenness. I didn't want them to see how messed up I was inside and how scared I was inside. And because I became very reclusive, a bunch of things started to happen. My reputation on campus started to deteriorate pretty substantially because I was no longer the joyful, fun person that I always used to be. I was also not nearly the hard worker I used to be because my grades started to plummet, so my grades also suffered. And my friendships began to really take a hit because I was just disconnecting from everybody. And I really gave myself to the whole community for 3 years. And for me to step away that 4th year, people didn't know how to handle it. And neither did I. So my relationship suffered, my friendship suffered. My relationship with God suffered because at no point did I say, hey God, I need you to, do something with this. I would pray, but I wouldn't pray for help. And then transformed what I had really given my whole life to for 4 years, started to fall apart as well because I was no longer to get the new members to buy into the mission of the ministry. And so I felt like I was losing control of everything. I hit my lowest point right before Thanksgiving. I came home from break. I walked in the front door of my house. My mom met me with a hug, and I lost it. I sat there and stood there, a blubbering mess in her arms, unable to lift my arms up to hug her back because I just had nothing left. So much for me being Superman, so much for me having all this boundless energy. I had nothing. And she looked at me and she said, what's wrong? And I told her that I was scared to death that I was going to graduate college, fall flat on my face, and be a disappointment to anybody who's ever invested any bit of time into my life. And she looked at me and she said, Tommy, we love you not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And I looked up at her and I said, I don't know who that is anymore. And the next day was Thanksgiving, and my grandfather, who is now 93 and still golfs once a week, yeah, it's impressive. He's a wonderful man, and we've been close my whole life. And at some point, as you get older, they stop telling you the bad news because they figured you've lived enough, you've heard enough bad news. So he had no idea what was going on in my heart, in my life, how much I was struggling. We're going for a walk because it happened to be a warm Thanksgiving that year, and he looked at me in the midst of the conversation, and he said, Thomas John, you were born at the right place, at the right time, and to the right people. And those people are going to help tell the story of your life. And he was right. See, I had forgotten what it meant to be united to a community. I knew that they loved me, but in order to be truly united to a community, you can't just show everybody your best self all the time. You can't just pretend like you have everything together when inside everything's falling apart. To be united in community with people, with family, with friends, it requires a pretty substantial level of authenticity, of what you're really thinking, what you're really feeling, what you really need, what you really want, what you're really struggling with. And because it requires that kind of authenticity, it requires an incredible amount of vulnerability. To let the people who love you see the worst of you. As the talk this morning said, on Miss Kara on her pilgrimage, her derp squad saw her at the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. We need to have that same courage with our family members, with our friends. And I'm telling you, you hearing that at 16 to 18 years old, I'm 27, and I struggle so much with that. And the person who's helping me with it the most is the most wonderful, beautiful woman in the world, and she's sitting in the back because you see, for her to just love me when I'm sensitive or when I communicate or when I'm listening to her or I'm being supportive or this or that, I mean, she's just loving me on the good days when I'm at my best. That's not love. It's when I'm insensitive and when I'm mean or irritated or selfish or prideful or arrogant or not letting her help me out with my stuff that she still stays in there and loves me every day. And I can't wrap my mind around it. Because I'm a human being, and I think you'll resonate with this, is that I tend to have this little, like, slimy, disgusting lizard thing living on my shoulder, right? Who whispers and says, well, they might love you now, but if they knew who you really were, they'd be running away in droves. You don't let her see that side of you, because if she sees that side of you, she's going to run away, because who can love that part of you? And that same little disgusting, miserable thing on your shoulder looks at, and also likes to whisper into your ear your favorite little sins too that you love. Well, wouldn't it be great if you can sneak away and just go look at that thing on your phone? Wouldn't that would just make your day? Or look at that kid over there. He's nerdy, doesn't know how to dress. So let's just go make fun of him. Let him know what kind of an outcast he really is. And then when you go and commit that favorite sin of yours, whatever it is, because we all have them, that little disgusting lizard thing just whispers in your head what a kind of terrible person you are. It reminds you how no one could possibly love you or be with you. No, you're worthless. Look at you. You can't even withstand the tiniest temptation. What good is your faith? What good are you? And we see that little lizard in the Gospels that we read this week. Opening night, Father D talking about the woman at the well, sneaking out in the middle of the day where no one else is around because she's embarrassed and because she's ashamed and she's afraid. And we see it elsewhere in the Gospels. We see it at the blind man Bartimaeus crying out for mercy because he can't see. And we see that little lizard in the face of the crowd saying, "Shut up! Jesus doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't love you. He doesn't want to be anything. He doesn't want to be anywhere close to you." We see it in the woman in the street in John chapter 8 crying because she's afraid and she's waiting for the other shoe to drop and they're going to start throwing stones at her. We see it in the paralytic who can't even get to Jesus to ask for help. He has to have his friends carry him. How embarrassing. How embarrassed must he feel that he's stuck and he can't move. We see it in the demon-possessed man who lives in the tombs in Decapolis, ostracized from his family because he's not in his right mind. He can't figure out how to get right. Guys, these stories we read in the Gospels, if we just look at them and read them like they were historical events, oh, isn't that nice? Then we're missing the whole point. So those stories didn't just happen. They always happened. How many times in your life have you been embarrassed? How many have you been ashamed like that woman at the well? How many times in your life have you felt guilty, waiting for the punishment, waiting for someone to just, they're going to come down and you're going to get what you finally deserve and it's going to be awful? How many times have you just needed help and asking for mercy and they've looked at you and said, "Shut up, no one likes you, get away from us"? How many times have you felt stuck in your own body, unable to make a decision and not even know how to make that decision? Or how many times have you looked at the events in your life and decisions you've made and think, "I don't even know who did that. That's not me. What is going on?" And you just want to sit in the corner and cry. You see, the names change, the situations change, the locations change, but Jesus' response never changes. See, this verse up here, "For if we have grown in union with him through a death like his, we shall also be united with him in his resurrection." Okay? That's Jesus saying to us that he doesn't want to just be united with you when you're the dressed up, perfect little youth group church kid. It doesn't just want to be a part of you when you're loving and when you're serving the poor and you're really honest and you have all this courage and you're living out all the virtues. Because when you're doing that, he's already united with you because all goodness flows from him. Love requires vulnerability. Love because you have to allow that other person to know you intimately. Thomas Aquinas says that love picks up where knowledge leaves off. Jesus Christ knows you better than you know yourself, and he is inviting you to let him love you. So no, he just doesn't want to be a part of your life where you're doing all these good things, and so you need to do these good things, and we just won't tell Jesus about these little things over here. Yeah, Jesus, that sounds great, but don't look over here. This is just, you don't need to worry about this little lizard on my neck. It's fine. It's bad, I get it, but I'm working on it, and it's okay. Shut up. Shh. Would you stop it? No, it's fine, Jesus. No, that's nothing. That's nothing. Don't worry about it. No, because you see in these stories, Jesus goes to these people in their darkest moment of despair. When they think they're as lost as they can possibly get, their worst moment of their life, Jesus goes in there because he wants to be united with them in that suffering, in that darkness, in that despair. And that means he wants you when you're lying. He wants you when you're cheating on that test. He wants you when you're bullying that kid. He wants you when you're the one getting bullied and you feel like there's no one around. He wants you when you're looking at pornography on your phone. He wants you when you're thinking of skipping that next meal because you want to starve yourself to feel beautiful. He wants you when you're picking up that razor to harm yourself. He wants you in the darkest moment of your life. Because I promise you, however dark and twisted you think that you are, your sin is, I promise you, it is not beyond saving. You are not beyond saving. The point of the gospel is that Christ wants to take that and unite it with that. Because when Christ unites himself with things, he changes them, he transforms them, he resurrects them. The point of the gospel is that the hatred you have in your heart towards yourself, towards other people, united with the cross of Christ becomes love. And the injuries and the scars you're carrying around with you, and the injuries caused in other people, united with the cross of Christ, get turned into mercy and healing and forgiveness. The doubts that you carry around with you, is this even real? Are you even there? What is this whole thing about? United with the cross of Christ become deep faith that can move mountains. The despair of it's never going to get any better, united with Christ becomes the hope that's going to allow you to hold on for one more day. The darkness in your heart and in your soul that you feel growing day in and day out, united with him on the cross, becomes light. And the sadness of feeling lost and alone becomes joy. That's the prayer of St. Francis. That's how we become an instrument of peace, of joy, and of mercy into this world. See, because Christ wants to take that disgusting lizard off your shoulder, and he wants to crucify it, he wants to kill it, and he wants to bury it. But he doesn't want to leave it there. He wants to take that vice that you have, he wants to bury it, and then he wants to resurrect it and transform it into a glorious beast of virtue, and it's going to carry you to heaven. And so how do we do that practically? How do we do that practically? Just like we'll be doing all week. Starting with our community around us that Kara talked about this morning. Being open and vulnerable with our communities. Let them know what's going on in here. Because if it's not in here, if it's just kept inside, we can't help you. We've got to shine light on our darkest places. So we can't be afraid of it. How do we get united with Christ practically in his death and resurrection? We got to go to the church. We got to devote ourselves to the Holy Scriptures. We need to devote ourselves to regular confession. We need to devote ourselves to the Eucharist, the source and summit of our faith. We need to take the example as Father Danny talked about in his homily today about the prodigal son. whose father was waiting for him at the gate and couldn't wait to run after him and give him a hug. And we get to do that very thing in like 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords is going to be right there. And the silence we experience will be more important and more impactful than any word that has ever been spoken. The poet Rumi had his poem, he said, "Come whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caveat of despair. Even if you've broken your vow 1,000 times, come again. Yet again, come. I don't care how many times you said, Jesus, this is the last time, and you've gone back. I don't care. He doesn't care either. He wants you to come back." And we can't be afraid. We can't let that little lizard tell us, oh no, he's going to be mad at you. You don't want this. It's going to be bad for you. It's going to hurt. You don't want to give this part up. We can't listen to that. We can't be afraid, and we shouldn't be afraid, because when we go to unite ourselves with Christ, guess what? We don't do it alone. When we unite ourselves with Christ, we stand united as one global church, over 1 billion Catholics strong worldwide. We stand united with the litany of saints throughout the ages. We stand united with the legions of angels and archangels, with the great Mother of God, Mary, most holy. We stand united, washed clean by the precious blood of the Lamb, and robed in the love of His most Holy Spirit. To be united in the very palm of God, so He can look at you and say the words that your heart was made to hear. I love you. Will you stand tonight united with me right now? Stand up. I want you to grab the hand of your brother and sister next to you, and I want you to bow your head, and I want you to close your eyes. And I want us to prepare right now in this moment to greet and encounter and experience the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, praying the very words that He gave us. Our Father, who art in heaven,